imagine what lies beneath the surface. Without further ado, moving on into our next conversation, our next speaker is again somebody very renowned, very interesting in terms of her background. Kiran Sethi is an Indian designer, educationist, education reformer, and social entrepreneur. With a degree in visual communication from the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, she began her career designing restaurants and later writing for newspapers. While she'd always been interested in design thinking and design experiences, it was when her children started going to school that Sethi recognized her true calling. Dismayed by the unfriendly and rigid atmosphere in schools, she set up the Riverside School in Ahmedabad, followed by APRO-CH, and finally Design for Change, which is today the largest movement of change and for and by the children. Over the years, Kiran's Riverside and Design for Change have won several accolades and awards. Some of the recent ones are the Earth Prize, the Rockefeller Innovation Award, the Lego Reimagine Award, the Lexus Prize, the Light of Freedom Award, and more recently, Induction of Design for Change, which was one of the 7 innovations in the first ever Hundreds Hall of Fame. Born in Bangalore in India, Kiran Sethi comes from a family of designers. She lives in Ahmedabad with her 2 children, Rag and Jazz, and her husband, Geet. She loves life, dark chocolates, and Govinda movies. I can't wait for this conversation to begin. Rajpreet, it's over to you and to Kiran. Thank you, Kiran, for joining us. Looking forward to this one. And what a lovely space to be in, to change the format and framework of education, which truly carves the way for the future. So over to you guys, and see you in a bit.
Hi, Kiran. Hi, Kiran. Am I audible?
Yeah. Hi, Rajpreet.
Yeah, hi, Kiran. So nice to have you on our platform today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I think, with so many accomplishments to your name, I think you already are an unstoppable woman. And that's what is the topic for today as well. So Kiran, how really do you define an unstoppable woman?
Oh my God. I mean, I've been called many things, and I'm often surprised by the labels that people put on the work you do. And I keep thinking, my God, all you do is just do the work, whether it is unstoppable or whether it is a social entrepreneur. I'm not necessarily a fan of the label that defines what you do. And I think it's true for anybody who sets out to just land up every day, show up every morning and say, okay, I'm here and I have to do the best that I can. So I feel that moniker, as it was, I'm not necessarily clear about what that means. But I think in hindsight, if I'm looking at the unique luxury and conditions I had growing up, I think that really possibly planted the seeds of whether it is unstoppable or whether it is living out your life. And I think that happened with my parents. I grew up, I'm the youngest of 3, and I have my sister and a brother. And I think what happened very early on is I never understood what embarrassment was. So I never understood what it meant to be embarrassed. So I think that was a massive liberation and freedom. I was super shameless, and nobody ever told me that that was the wrong thing. And I never understood what my gender defined me or confined me. It just didn't. I was, and I think those possibly were the ingredients of building a sense of self and a sense of my own story and how it was unraveling. And I feel really that possibly was where the roots were set. And then the sort of, one was able to really live out with freedom and with joy, whatever one encountered in life. So I think that possibly in my humble understanding of my 56 years on the planet is what it means to not be confined and not be defined also.
That was beautifully put. Kiran, you reminded me of, whether success leads to happiness or vice versa. And I kept reading that happy people are more successful and, and not the other way around. And also, as a student now of psychology, I'm still learning and reading that the more the free child in you is nurtured, the more really the freedom that you spoke of, the more you blossom. So I think, it's just coming so naturally. And when already, let me also make a comment on the beautiful background that I see, the greenhouse kind of effect. It already makes me feel I'm talking to this designer, and it's so beautiful. So
actually, I can't take credit for this. I am currently on a family getaway. We came, and this is this beautiful Black Buck resort that I would give all the credit to. If anybody wants to come and take a lovely vacation, Black Buck Resort run by a dear friend, Mickey Desai. So this is all.
Okay. So, Kiran, you have been an inspiring leader in the field of education. So how has been your journey in bringing about this social change?
I don't know whether there's a journey to bring about a social change. I think I encountered very intimately an education that rewarded compliance and being good over creativity and conversation. So, and as a designer, I believe the organizing principle of what design does is understand the user. Okay, and then with the user, design the solution. Education has forever kept our children incidental to the program. We design for them, and we think we know everything that they need to do. So it's a very us and them idea. So I feel that as a mother, my response was to a crisis, but as a designer, I responded to the opportunity. I said, my God, there has to be a better way. This can't be it. And unlike how we respond to crisis, typically we'll say, what can one person do? This is the way it's always been. I turned out okay. And we leave it to chance, right? I felt here's an opportunity of how do you bring the user into the conversation and bring design thinking principles to have children really design their own journeys. So I from that churned out this idea that if we are human by chance, can we become humane by design? And if education's greatest contribution is to get us to become humane, citizens who take choices that are more empathetic, that are more ethical, that pursue excellence, that elevate each other. These are the E's, the value proposition that we then at Riverside used as our, I would say, DNA to craft a way to get children to graduate as citizens who have a mindset for the greater good. So whether it's a social change or whatever, I don't know. But I do know that a lot of the alumni who have graduated are telling us that in those little ways, they're making their world a little bit more just and a little bit more equitable. And I think that's a really good story to be part of.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And, at Sechi's also, we believe you use the word better good. So, that's what we also stand for, which is a good of not just for yourself and your family, but also for the larger good of the society at large. So I think it just means so much. And being a mother myself, I've been, when I was putting my child onto a school, we were really frantically searching for schools which also emphasize a lot on the value education. Because as corporate professionals, we do realize that the technical skills can really take you this far. And in those adverse situations, it is those values that really keep you going. So am I audible? Yeah.
You suddenly froze for a little bit, but yeah, you're back.
Okay, great. So, Kiran, yeah.
Yes.
Of the 4 billion people living in urban areas today, nearly a third of them are children. And it is estimated that by 2050, more than 70% of the world's children will live in urban areas and even in slums. So there's a lot of initiative done by UNICEF. And I would love to hear more about your vision to make cities more child-friendly and what really led you onto this mission.
UNICEF has a mandate of making cities child-friendly. They come from very infrastructural design solutions. Like, for instance, there should be street lighting. Very simple thing, but a wonderful thing to make sure that if there's street lights, the child is more safer because there's light on the streets. or free public transport, where children can get onto a bus, free and safe public transport. The child gets onto any public transport and safely reaches the end destination. These are some of the mandates that UNICEF has crafted. However, when I was talking to my first 7th graders, talking about, how I grew up playing on the streets of Bangalore, Dabba Ice Spice and, all of these games, I asked them what were they doing when they went home. And a lot of them basically came back saying that parents don't feel safe sending children out onto the streets because of what our cities had become. And that kind of started this whole conversation with the city. How can a city design for childhood? How can a city nurture childhood? And that's when the children of Riverside went to meet the police, traffic police and the municipality. And I am an NID, considering we were the best design and business minds in the city. We said, why have we not done much more for the city? So it really became a collaborative citizen initiative where we requested the city to open up its hearts and its doors for the child. And so several of the initiatives that happened with approach, which is a protagonist in every child, emerged from the idea that if a city cares for its child, then one day when the child becomes a citizen of the city, it'll return back, right? It's a simple cycle of care. And that's how approach started in 2007. In fact, we're celebrating 15 years, where we have our parks of the city light up with, laughter and joy because children are playing games and parents are there. It's all citizen run, completely free. Then we close down the busiest street for traffic, which is Law Garden. If anybody knows Ahmedabad, they'll realize what that street is. And we children. Then we get the city, the multiplexes, and say, can you give us free cinema viewing for children on the street or NGOs, so we can have a popcorn and an experience. So through that became this making Ahmedabad a child-friendly city. And then therefore it then traveled across many other cities in India and a couple of countries. But that really became a conversation and a partnership with the citizens of a city to say, how do we care for childhood? Because again, I keep saying, if a city cares, or we claim that as a society we love our children, how can we make streets with have no cycling paths? How do we create more malls over parks in cities? How do you design cities that remove the child from its partnership? So it sort of emerged from that, and we are celebrating 15 years this year of approach.
So, Kiran, as you were speaking, I was also trying to remember my childhood, which was in a small place, Jamshedpur, and which is full of CSR initiatives by Tatas, and it has beautiful parks. And as far as you can see, it's greenery. And right now, during COVID times, when we were for some time in Jamshedpur, and right now we are in Mumbai, I can tell you how much my daughter really, really misses to be in those parks. And so that part, whether the coming generation is really able to enjoy, is something, there's so much great work that you're doing in there. And as you spoke about the circle, the karmic circle, really paying it back. So I think it's all so beautiful. And it's not an easy journey, Kiran, I'm sure. And so, you may have faced certain setbacks, obstacles, and, and still, that's why I said unstoppable, meaning that you still kept on, right? The grit, the persistence. So, what really kept you going on this journey,
I had shared earlier that I'm pretty shameless, so I think that is a key ingredient to help you take every day. And one of the things that I've learned is that while talent is overrated, I think stamina is what you need. I've had too many people who have great ideas and say, oh, I'm so talented. And in 2 years, we don't see these people, because I think this is the stamina. And this is one thing I think my role model or my lighthouse, Mahatma Gandhi, keeps sharing, that it's the stamina for landing up every single day and fighting the good fight. And I think along with stamina, I keep saying you have to have a sense of humor. You can't go through life, because the world needs your compassion and your joy, not your fatigue. and not your, oh my God, look at me, I'm such a smart ass. And none of that, right? So I think if one recognizes that our life's purpose is slightly bigger than your own nose, then you are able to take an extra step with that sense of joy. And I've been super, super blessed. Like I said, firstly, with my family, growing up with the parents I got, going to NID, I thought that was such a game changer for me personally, just to understand what purpose and passion were. Because a lot of people have passion, but passion doesn't often find purpose. So I think that I found when I became a mother. So I had all the passion in the world, and I was doing these super interesting, lovely restaurants and having such a great time. But I think the ideas that I was being built for this moment of being a mother, and then possibly using my education in design to put design back into education with school. So I think it was really multiple things like that. And then, of course, just land up and don't take yourself too seriously. I find that's been some important lessons I have learned, and I've been surrounded by some amazing people. My team, I don't do this alone. I don't think any of us walk this planet alone. And to recognize that very early on is something that you owe to yourself if you want to be in this for the long run. I think any passion is not a 100-meter dash, right? It's a marathon race, and you land up and you take your stops. And like right now, I'm taking my own little, they say the service garage. I'm going recharging myself so I can have another 1 month of work. So yeah, it's been, I have been super grateful, super grateful. I think gratitude is the one overwhelming feeling that I harbor now in my heart. Just super thankful that I have one more day to do stuff that I so love doing.
Wow. So really nice listening to your views, and the free child always emerging, the sense of humor that you spoke of. A lot of times, we're just so caught up, and I can tell you about myself that, these little moments of joy, which we should not miss out on. I think to recharge our batteries and also spread that happiness in people around us. I think that's so very important.
That's why Govinda movies.
Okay.
I have to say, it is the best antidote to any day. Paji, I'm so in heaven when I see his movies.
Okay. So, Kiran, as you know, we are launching our entire app today, which is a lot focused on, women networking. And again, with purpose, and, because there are a lot of connections that we make on social media. So the whole idea is that, but how much are we truly, really connected to with each of them? So have these conversations, build those connections, which we may actually, not be otherwise doing, and have this one single destination where all women across India or possibly across the globe are connected. So that's what we are really moving on. So Kiran, how do you think networking has played a role in your life? And what would you really give as a message to the audience watching us on YouTube?
I've had different relationship with networking. When I started, I think it was a primary way for me to let the world know I existed, or the work existed, or Riverside existed. So I remember when I was lucky enough to be invited for these conferences after a certain time of working with Riverside, etc., I would make big lists. Oh, I have to meet these people and these people, I'd make all that thing. But after a while, I got fatigued. Because networking is not just the first meeting. It is the follow-up. It is the being ghosted. It is the fact that it's not personal when somebody ghosts you after thinking that you're the most amazing person on the planet. And I've gone through all of it. And at this point, I think I'm so much more at peace to say that if I have to make reach out or make a connection. Like I said, my shamelessness is super, super easy here. I just reach out and I say, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody will say, I don't want to talk to you. Big deal, right? But I've reached here because networking has been at different times, a different relationship. I'm not that interested at this time in my life. I really need to breathe. I need to slow down. I need to say, it's been fantastic. And so I'm less into, I have to make these connections at this moment. I've needed to do it for the work I do. I'm super antisocial otherwise. Like meaning once I reach home, I want my space. I have no interest in meeting anybody or going out because my work is so external. So my time is super internal and I'm just super, super greedy about that. So for my work, you'll find me making those connections and connecting with people, etc. Because I run a global movement as well. So it requires all of that. But so I don't know. I find that for when you start off something, you need it. And then when you reach a certain time in your space, you are super careful about where and whom you need and where you go. I have my, say, 5 go-to people who are extremely brutal with me and honest. And I think if you have that with you, you're set. Everything else is just bonus and great. So yeah, I'm at that space when I'm saying, okay, if I don't meet another human being for another week, I'm perfectly fine.
Sure. So I think what is also important is, where you are at this point in juncture, at what juncture you are in your life. And for example, I always felt that my work will speak for itself and I don't really need to do it. But then I realized the power and the benefits it has. And, how you can really, really nurture some of the relationships and they emerge when you really need it. And you have this person whom you can just reach out to who can help you and which otherwise would have taken you the longer way. But it's great to, have you with us today, Kiran, and share your beautiful vision and share with us about the work that you're doing. And incredible. And definitely if we come to Ahmedabad, we would love to visit the school. And I saw the peacocks video recently that you had posted. It was so beautiful.
I keep saying, please come and have coffee with Kiran. It'll be a much better conversation, I assure you.
Absolutely. I think I see Shreya. So Shreya, if you would like to summarize and share thoughts quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I love what Kiran said about cities. Because when you look at the entire layout of how cities have an impact on our minds and our growing up and our upbringing, there is have all sort of 1 second, I think my network went off a little bit. So I was saying that autias, poets, authors have all found these relationships with the cities that they're in, whether it's the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, which speaks about the yellow smoke that goes up in cities, of cities that you see in films. I love that way, the way that Kiran brought that to the fore and the play out of how childhood sort of interlaces with that. Thank you, Kiran, for that. And of course, the way you close, saying, I think that is so important to say that this is it. This is what I need to do, and this is my time, and that's sacrosanct. So I think all of these little elements that you both brought into the conversation was so incredible. Congratulations on the amazing work that you do, Kiran. And when I'm in Ahmedabad, I'm surely going to catch up on that coffee with Kiran. The entire idea of design and education and the passion and commitment with which you speak is very infectious. I'm so glad that you joined us here today. On a last parting note, I think one question that I would have for you is, what can we all do to make a small impact? What can we do as able to create something? But what is it that I can do from my standing? What can we all do as citizens to involve ourselves in some form of change or shift?
More and more I've been my realization that choice is a fantastic word, right? Choice. And the more you exercise it on a daily basis, you leave the world a little better, a little kinder. So I feel it's not large ideas that need to change the world. It's in this a choice you take to say a kind word, to hug somebody. And you must do it and exercise that choice today, not tomorrow, not next week. I find that we keep deferring the promise of good work. Abhi nahi, next week karenge, or even to tell somebody you love them, or to apologize, or to reach out. And I have found the tremendous power in today and the now, and exercising the choice. So I feel it just is incredible. I see it with children. I see the fact that every day when not only my 2, but my 450 that are at school, I don't lose a choice to tell them, I love you all. I might not like you today, but I love you. And to hug them and to say, I missed you. And my face should light up when I see, and especially as mothers. And if there are women here and their mothers, I find that we keep having that mother's face when we look at our children. It's always this frown. What have you not done? Why have you not done your homework? Why are you not eating food? So I think if you can light up your face with first telling your child that you are here and it's an important relation and I love you, I feel that it sets everything as it is meant to be. And again, coming from having experienced that when I was young, seeing it, what it does as a balm, it heals so much for so many of my children that I meet at Riverside, and my own too. Now my son is 31, my daughter is 27, but I still hug them and I say, I love you. And I don't care if they feel embarrassed. I don't care. I'm going to tell you loudly and passionately that I love you. So I think if you can do that, when the time goes and you pass, I think you'll be leaving a lot of good things in people's minds and hearts. That's so wonderful to live.
Oh my God, I think what a lovely note to bring this conversation to its, I don't want to let go, but it's so beautiful. It's so lovely to see that joyfulness, Kiran. And when you're saying it, I can feel it here. So I think everybody who's watching is feeling that too. So thank you so much. Thank you for taking time out of your holiday, of joining us here, of joining the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you.
So